Coming up on Florida Man Sports, we have a full slate of college football playoff games. Stick around to learn more. Welcome back to Florida Man Sports. My name is Jacob Hopkins. Today we have a special guest in Clayton Osborne. How you doing, Clayton?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Jake.
Of course. I had to talk about college football with one of my biggest college football fan friends. So let's go ahead and hop right into that first game. Indiana taking on Notre Dame in South Bend. Coming into this game, Indiana is rocking the second best offense in the FBS. They're scoring over 43 points a game. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're sixth best in the nation with 14.7 allowed. They also have the fourth best turnover margin in college football. However, they haven't played many teams though, as their strength of schedule falls to 67th. But you can't knock them completely for that, because when they played Ohio State, they were able to hold them 50 yards under their season average. They allowed 115 yards to Ohio State's normal 169.
Notre Dame, on the other hand, aren't too far behind the Hoosiers in the strength of schedule, coming in at number 60. However, they have star running back Jeremiah Love, who is averaging 7 yards per carry with 950 yards in the season and 17 total touchdowns. Quarterback Riley Leonard also adds to that with his 30 total touchdowns on the season.
Notre Dame is also third in the nation in both points per game and points allowed. But how will that stack up against the Hoosiers? Personally, I think that the Hoosiers will keep it close because of their elite defense and ability to take away the football. But I think that Notre Dame will out-physical them all the way through the game. Give me the Fighting Irish. What about you, Clayton?
I'm also going to be taking the Fighting Irish here. I don't think that they have enough juice, Indiana does, to go against a team like Notre Dame. I think their schedule has been too easy. And you can argue that Notre Dame's been the same. However, I think Notre Dame's the better program here, the better coach team. Kirk Sneddie is a fantastic coach, but Marcus Freeman will get the job done, and so will Riley Leonard.
And you can catch that game on Friday the 20th at 8 p.m. The next game that we have is at noon on Saturday. It's the Penn State Nittany Lions hosting the SMU Mustangs. When you look at SMU stats, nothing really pops out. However, they find a way to win. There's a reason that they have 11 wins, there's a reason that they made the ACC championship, and there's a reason they're in the playoffs. Yes, they do not have a quality win. Yes, they do have the 57th ranked strength of schedule. But Kevin Jennings has elite arm talent. The throws he made against Clemson late in that game were insane.
Penn State's offense, however, has been on a roll lately. They're averaging 33.6 points per game the whole year, and pass and rushing yards are very similar. Their pass yards are 246.5 yards a game compared to 202.1 rush yards per game. They also have a stud running back in Nick Singleton and a stud quarterback in Drew Aller, who is completing 69% of his passes and has thrown for almost 2,900 yards this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Penn State's offense is going to be incredibly hard to stop. And not only do they have Nick Singleton, but Katron Allen, also an 800-yard rusher. So, yes, SMU does find a way to win, but give me the Nittany Lions in an absolute bloodbath.
I absolutely agree, Jacob. The only way for SMU to win this game is they got to get to Drew Aller. He's pretty elusive in the pocket. Penn State is ranked number 10th offensively in sacks, whereas SMU is ranked 3 overall nationally in sacks. So I do feel like SMU has an edge there, but they're going to be no problem from the Lions.
I agree completely. All right, so the next game that we're talking about here is Clemson going over to Austin to play, in my opinion, probably the best game that we're going to see throughout the entire weekend, because you've got two great offenses going right at it. So let's get right into it now. Clemson is 4th in total yards this season. Granted, they haven't played the strongest schedule, but it is one of the better schedules amongst the teams in the playoffs this year with the 35th ranked strength of schedule. Their defense is pretty solid as well, as they allow 22.3 points a game. But the star of the show for Clemson is Cade Klubnik. He is 3rd in the country in passing touchdowns, and amongst the Power 4, he has the best touchdown to interception ratio.
Cade Klubnik will be a challenge for the Texas Longhorns. However, Texas is 2nd in points per game allowed, averaging only 12.5 points games allowed. They also have experienced quarterback Quinn Ewers, who is throwing to an elite wide receiver core in Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, and Silas Bolden.
Yes, Texas does have a great defense. Yes, they're second in the country in points allowed. Yes, it's 12.5. I don't care. They have played nobody this season. The two ranked teams The two ranked teams that they've played this season, they lost to both of them. It was Georgia, one of which was at home convincingly. So with that being said, give me Cade Klubnik and his elite offense. Give me Dabo Sweeney and his incredible playoff resume. He's 4-2 in semifinal games, by the way. So I think he knows a thing or two about the playoffs.
Okay. I agree. However, Clemson's not what Clemson used to be. And also, Clemson also lost to Georgia. Keep that in mind. I believe that Quinn Ewers and the Texas defense as well will get the job done. And also, Clemson, they could barely beat a team who's the 57th ranked in strength of schedule. And with a last-second field goal, mind you. Give me the Longhorns. It's going to be a chippy game. I'm not gonna say who's going to cover the spread or not. I just think Texas wins this game. Give me Texas. Give me Quinn Ewers. Steve Sarkisian. He has a big game. He needs to be known as a man on campus there. I'm going to go with the Longhorns here.
And let me ask you a question. How many big games has Steve Sarkisian won?
It's going to be one after this week against Clemson, an ACC opponent, by the way.
Granted, the ACC really isn't anything. That's why they don't get playoff teams.
Thank you.
And for the final game of the evening, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes hosting the Tennessee Volunteers at the Horseshoe at 8 p.m. It's a night game finally. Ohio State fans have been begging for night games. So, let's get right into it. Tennessee is coming into this game third in yards per game amongst the Power Four. They're also second in rushing yards per game in the Power Four. And that's because of Dylan Sampson and his 22 touchdowns on the year. Their defense, pretty solid as well. They're fourth in both yards and points allowed. So Tennessee could absolutely raise some hell.
On the contrary, Ohio State's offense has been absolutely effective this year, averaging 35.5 points per game, 423.5 total yards per game. And not to mention, they have arguably the best backfield in all of college football, with Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, Ole Miss transfer.
Ohio State also has the best defense in the country. They average under 11 points per game allowed. On top of that, they have the best yards per game allowed in college football. So I understand that Nico Iamaleava and I understand that Dylan Sampson are a great combination, but I don't care. It's a night game at the Shoe, baby. Give me the fucking Buckeyes.
Couldn't agree more. Give me the Buckeyes as well. Night game at the Shoe. Ohio State finally got what they've been asking for all year. How many noon games have they gotten? We don't know.
However many home games they had.
In my opinion, this game is way harder for Ohio State than it is for Tennessee, in the way they have way more to lose in Tennessee. If Tennessee loses, Heupel's not going anywhere. However, if Ohio State loses this game, Ryan Day, he's canned. He's ran out of town, ran out of Columbus. Also, Ohio State has 55 plays of yards over 20, and Tennessee has 38. Also, Ohio State in the red zone, 88% compared to Tennessee's 73.5%. Give me the Buckeyes.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like much of a gap, but in the red zone, that's a difference of probably like somewhere between 6 to 10 points a game at minimum. Like you're gonna need that when the spread is 7.5.
Which that's where they're gonna be living all game. There's gonna be many many field goals in this game. A lot on the line for Ohio State here. They have to win. Must win for them.
Now that we've covered all the games that are going to happen in the first round, each of us are going to fill out a bracket real quick. So stick around. We're going to do mine first real quick. So in the first side of the bracket, we have the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. Y'all heard me say Ohio State. And Ohio State is going to play Oregon. Oregon is going to smack them. I think Oregon is better than what they were at the beginning of the year. I think Oregon advances to the next round. The next matchup we have is the winner of Clemson versus Texas. That would be Clemson in my bracket. So then we have Arizona State playing Clemson. And I think that Cam Skadaboo has carried the team this far, and he will continue to do so. If anyone watched that Iowa State game, you know how good Arizona State is. So give me the Sun Devils in the next round. We now go over to the other side of the bracket, where the winner of Notre Dame and Indiana will face off against Georgia. I don't think it really matters who wins this game, so just move Georgia to the next round, please. And then we have Penn State and then SMU. Winner of that game plays Boise State. Give me Boise State and give me a pissed off Ashton Jeanty. If you've been following college ball at all in the last week or so, you know that Ashton Jeanty is pissed he was robbed of that Heisman. So Jeanty is going to carry the Broncos through, in my opinion, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Then we go back up to the top real quick. We have Oregon versus Arizona State. This is not a close matchup. This is Oregon beating them by at least 20 and moving on to the championship game. And then we have Georgia versus Boise State. As much as I love Boise State, as much as I love Ashton Jeanty, this is a Power 4 team against a Group of 5 team. It does not matter. Georgia, next round. And then in the championship game, it's the Oregon Ducks and the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes, Oregon has not won a national championship ever. Yes, Dan Lanning has never won a big game in his career. Yes, Georgia beat Oregon by over 40 the last time they played. But that was 2 years ago. Give me the damn Ducks. The Ducks will throw the ball right through Georgia's depleted secondary. Dylan Gabriel is just too good. There's a reason he leads college football in completion percentage.
Thank you, Jacob. My picks are Buckeyes over the Volunteers. Give me the Longhorns over the Tigers. Give me Notre Dame over Indiana and Penn State over SMU. Moving on to Oregon versus Ohio State, the rematch of the century. I think Oregon defends themselves yet again. I think they beat the Buckeyes in that one. I think it's going to be a close game just like the first one was. But give me the Ducks. Texas versus Arizona State. Cam Skattebo, great running back, one of the best in the nation. Kenny Dillingham, fantastic coach. Not enough for the Longhorns. Give me the Longhorns in that round. Boise State at Penn State. Let me go with Penn State here. The Ashton Jeantys just do not have enough in the tank for the big boys. I like Penn State in that one. Georgia and Notre Dame. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Give me the Bulldogs, unfortunately. I think Oregon dismantles Texas. I think Texas's true colors are shown. They've gone against nobody all year. Give me the Ducks in that one. And lastly, as much as this pains me to say as a Florida fan, give me the Bulldogs over the Nittany Lions. They're going to the national championship. And then in the national championship, sorry to bore you guys, give me the Ducks. I think it's Dan Lanning's, it's finally his year. Dylan Gabriel has been in college for forever now. It's finally his year. Highest completion percentage in college football. I think it's going to be too much for the Bulldogs to handle. Give me the Ducks to win the national championship of 2024.
All right, so I'm not going to lie. It seemed like most of our bracket was the same, but like...
I know it was. You only have Arizona State, but it's also hard because, like, look at these matchups. How can they not be
all right,
the same?
But you
the only one that can be different, but you also switched from Tennessee to Ohio State.
I did last second, but do you really think that Boise State is not beating Penn State?
Boise State will not beat Penn State.
You want to bet?
Yeah, sure.
$20.
$20. Ashton Jeantys are not going to get it done. No. He's going to be angry.
He's a pissed off machine right now.
There's a difference between the Group of 5 and the Power 4, especially the Big Ten. Give me the Nittany Lions. I think Drew Aller and I think Nick Singleton are going to be too much for them. James Franklin needs this win, and I think he will get it.
Well, I mean, that's about all we got for Florida Man Sports. Once again, my name is Jacob Hopkins.
My name is Clayton Osborne.
Have a great night, everybody. And remember, it's not stupid if it works.
Go Gators.
God, no.